Number 26. A beautiful home built in 1934 turned ugly when in 2009, the real estate mogul who bought the home took his wife's life, claiming the woman went missing on a hike. A search began for his wife but turned up nothing. A year later, the man put a new addition on his home that raised enough suspicion for police to request a search warrant. They found the wife buried beneath the home. The man was given more than 20 years behind bars, and the house remains abandoned. Published by Dark Exploration Films, this walkthrough of the home is incredibly disturbing. Taking viewers through the grounds and inside the home, the explorer comes upon the hole in which the woman was buried.
Let's go into the room that everybody wants to see. So this room was added in 2009. And once the police found out about this construction, they were a little skeptical.
Many in the comments are bewildered that anyone could live in the home they buried their wife in without getting telltale-hearted to the point of insanity. Others feel a sense of darkness and foreboding and even a feeling of sadness there. Surely the woman's spirit remains. Number 25. When demons get aggressive, then it's time to be really afraid. Published by Realidad Alterna in November of 2021, this scary video shows a terrifying, malignant incident caught on camera, captured in a scary haunted house. Tim sets up his camera and immediately hears a strange noise behind him. As he's reading something out loud, a window pane starts opening and shutting like mad. The lights start flashing in both rooms, and later, with the night vision on, a chair comes flying out of another room. It doesn't look like it's thrown, rather like it rises. But the scariest part is yet to come. As Tim reads a ritual out loud, a chair comes flying behind him, knocking him over, and seated into the chair. Later, he hears strange knocking from the basement. And when he goes to investigate, creepy groans sound distantly, but they seem like they're all around him. There is something truly to fear in this demon house. Are you ready to face it? Number 24. Morgan Adams is a popular YouTuber who doesn't ordinarily focus on paranormal content at all. So when she recently suspected that her house was haunted, you know I had to take a look. Let's go over the evidence and see if her suspicions are correct. She claims to hear tapping and scratching on the walls, which could be an animal, but then there's whispers too. When this happens, she uses Snapchat and almost always detects a second face nearby. She has named the spirit Angie, and it seems to have become quite attached. Angie often responds to her own name.
Angie! Oh my god! Angie, you have a lot of new friends that would like to say hi. Oh my...
Though Snapchat could be mistaking the shelf behind her for a winking face, and these two objects on the wall for eyes, Angie typically lurks around the corner of the house reserved for overnight visitors, coincidentally the same area where her dog Ollie absolutely refuses to go. Even with the promise of a treat, Ollie will only allow himself to go so far before he refuses to budge. Some dogs have trouble keeping their balance on hardwood floors and can actually develop a fear of them over time. I thought that could be Ollie's deal because he puts one paw on the wood and stops at 9 minutes and 8 seconds. But at 8 minutes and 52 seconds he has no problem walking on the same type of floor, so that can't be why. I think Morgan Adams could be giving a verbal command for Ollie to sit when she says okay at 9 minutes and 8 seconds. You tell me if Ollie is doing a trick or if he senses something and is too nervous to go forward.
Come on. Okay, come on.
I don't think it's fake because then she tells him to come on and he still won't move, and when Morgan gets to the end of the hall she hears a noise and shudders. Plus, Ollie isn't the only animal acting weird. Her cat will freeze at the door like someone is on the other side, and Morgan even hears knocking sometimes.
Cut it out right now. Stop!
There's never anything there, and yet the cat stares at the wall as if something has its attention.
Literally? I'm gonna freak out if you don't stop. Oh my, turn orbs, literally.
An orb of light also flies in the direction that her cat is staring. Odd indeed. Oh, and there's also this strange Snapchat photo taken in the middle of the night. It could be something photoshopped, but I see something more to it. To the left of the shadow person, I see a face on the wall, and another peeking out from behind the covers. It almost looks like the exact same from a photo taken at the mountain pass, where Angie the spirit first followed Morgan home. And if you're wondering where Angie is in the photo, check out Morgan's shoulder. The dark hair is not hers. Finally, one night, her dad lets it slip that the property was built near an old burial ground. Tell me if you think he is telling the truth here or not.
Do you think our house is haunted?
Nope.
The way he pauses and looks away makes me think he could have been trying to avoid saying anything that could make his daughter worry any more than she already has been. So is all of this real or fake? I'm 50-50 on this one, so your opinions will help me decide. Number 23. Just by looking at the exterior of this house, you can tell it's clearly haunted. Published by Han Kardesler, these 3 paranormal investigators are doing a ritual just to make sure. Circling a small table with candles lit on top, the men are seen grasping the table and chanting a ritual, while noises are heard around them. Then outside they see this. A pale face in the window moves away. Back inside, the men are chanting around the table again, when a wheeled chair rolls into view. One of the men seems to be shocked by something unexplained and without a word walks away. The others follow him, uncertain of where he went. They find him outside standing at a distance in the darkness. He is suddenly snatched by someone and pulled from view. They find him in a strange stick hut and appear to talk him into normalcy. But what of the snatcher? Was this the work of the mad face in the window? I think so. Number 22. It's late at night when a group of friends hear a woman screaming for help and decide to investigate inside the house. They enter and look around trying to figure out where the woman is. Soon the cameraman realizes their female friend is no longer with them, and as they head upstairs they see her getting dragged into a room. They try to go back downstairs, but there's someone blocking their path who appears to be possessed. With the group trapped inside the house, they are eventually each picked off by whatever was in that house. According to the footage, the group was never seen again. And though their reactions seem quite realistic, I've been unable to find more information on the incident, so therefore I cannot decide whether this is real or a skit. Number 21. A bolt lock can't keep the paranormal out. Published by Dark Ghost Paranormal in April of 2021. This is a true house of horrors. As Russian paranormal investigator Dennis looks around the unsettling home, something appears to let itself in. Dennis backs off and shuts the door behind him, but that doesn't stop the unwelcome guest. After verifying that there's no one there, Dennis returns to his investigation. Close by, he hears a loud knock. Later, the wardrobe drawers open on their own. And what looks like newspaper is shoved up from one of them. Then the wardrobe doors open one at a time. The second one repeatedly swings open and shut. Dennis walks toward it and there's nothing inside, yet it continues to open and close. This occurs for several minutes. Later, he hears a noise. A bunch of racket draws him to this cupboard. It sounds like all the dishes inside are jumping around. Opening the cupboard doors, he finds nothing out of place. He then hears another noise and finds a bag moving as it hangs on the wall, like there's an animal trapped inside of it. He takes the bag from its hook and opens it, but again, there's nothing inside. When he puts it back down on the bed, it continues to move. What is inhabiting this haunted home? Whatever it is, it let itself in. Number 20. Next time you're confronted by voices in a haunted house, you should probably just skip town. Redditor Alex_paranormal TV posted the scary paranormal investigation to the Chills Narrator subreddit. It was originally posted on YouTube in February of 2020. The house being explored is a Coal Harbour house in London. As Alex Paranormal explains, we investigate the Cold Harbour house that no one wants to live in because of the extreme activity and what resides inside the Shadow Man.
What, it's not there, isn't it? Yeah. What, it's been a fire on there, isn't it? Yeah.
The exploration turns up loads of paranormal activity. At 8:53 in the video, Alex mumbles something as they're exploring, to which a disembodied voice answers, "Yeah." A little later, after setting up the spirit box, it either moves or falls over on its own at 16 minutes 7 seconds.
Well, it's full free stuff, mate. Did you just knock that?
Oh, mate. Just I'm right on with that.
Who are you?
A short time after, at 16 minutes 55 seconds, an evil laugh occurs as the team attempts to speak with the spirits.
Is this your room?
Where are you?
The laughter occurs again at around 22 minutes 9 seconds. And at 22 minutes 49 seconds, a grunt can be heard.
You just grunt then? What was that? Was that you?
As they're talking about the grunt, a very audible knock sounds on the adjacent door at 23 minutes 35 seconds. They continue to explore the haunted house. While they're in a hallway, about to enter another room, a door slams at 26 minutes 55 seconds.
Oh, that's about you. Is that you?
No.
Continuing in their exploration after a while, they discover an old Tonka truck in a room. When one guy asks if that's an old Tonka toy, a disembodied voice at 31 minutes 52 seconds answers yeah.
Look at that. That's an old Tonka toy, isn't it?
What is?
A number of other disembodied voices are noted throughout the video, as if the house was whispering a secret to them, if only they'd just listen. What was it trying to tell them, and what would you do in a house that talks to you? I'd just move out. Number 19. I'm going to take you to one of the most haunted places in the world. Some people call it the Arnold Estate, but you probably know it as the Conjuring House. Yeah, that one. This 1700s farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island, is where the ill-fated Perron family lasted from January of 1971 until June of 1980. During this time, items would go missing, and small piles of dirt would show up whenever they cleaned the kitchen floor. Soon they were visited by spirits who smelled of rotting and could possess them at will. That's because it was less of a farmhouse and more of a portal to the underworld. A sorceress named Bathsheba Sherman is said to have practiced arcane magic here, possibly even sacrificing her own kin to better forge a connection with the underworld. People have lost their lives all over the property. Kids floating in a creek and swinging in the attic too. Now it's a place for only the bravest of ghost hunters to go. Jennifer and Marcel of J&M Explorations want to put their skills and equipment to the test. On March 18th of 2020, they team up with some friends for safety in numbers and prepare to explore it, the real Conjuring house. They want to see something crazy, so they waste little time heading straight into the basement, the same place where father and husband Roger Perron used to feel a sinking presence behind him whenever he had to come down here to fix the heating equipment, which mysteriously failed many times. The deeper they go, the more they are filled with dread. I don't think it's just them down here, and this is why.
Oh my god, it's just the creepiest.
Something guides them to a piece of old wooden furniture in the far corner that just so happens to have a kid's drawing on it. Andrea thinks this could be a person with a crooked neck in her words, and I see what she means. If it's not that, then maybe it's someone floating in the creek. As she's exploring what it could be, a small face with large black eyes looks at her from behind. At least that's what some people claim to see. Roger always thought he felt something behind him. The old barn is next. This part is of particular interest.
Yeah, this is neat, that old sort of, full and
I'm pretty sure Marcel is right by her, so it's not him. And here's another voice they catch in the bedroom. This one's not in the mood to sing.
Make a noise, but you gotta make it close. Make the noise in here with us. Can you knock on the wall?
Close. Click on Silver. Silver. Raw.
What the?
Its voice drips with hatred, and soon thereafter a foul smell washes over Jennifer, the same one who moments earlier was asking for a sign. Well, I think she's got one and don't think she's faking.
that smell's coming back, and if I can taste it. I don't like that at all. I want to get a drink.
Go ahead.
All right,
I'll stay up here.
Yep.
She smells the rotting, in my opinion, a stench coming from the door. Watch her reaction when she tries to leave.
Oh my god.
Just then, their friends enter to talk about their experience while using a Ouija board downstairs. They spelt out a demonic name, and just the mention of it registers on their equipment.
The smell is when something evil, demonic is around you. When we were downstairs playing the Ouija board with the Beelzebub, and then they started smelling the smell up here. You see what I'm saying?
The meter's going off.
And while paranormal equipment is designed to withstand electromagnetic interference, normal cameras are not.
Wait a minute, were those the ones that were on that table right over here?
The screen turned off without him anywhere near it. A final truly bizarre moment happens when they head down to the dining room and see this hanging decoration is spinning. Soon another one is moving, this time side to side instead of in circles. Here's the same room taken towards the beginning of the video. The camera is not steady, but it's steady enough to tell that these objects are not spinning. It could be far from a vent or a draft, but I don't think so. These dried flowers are meant specifically to keep spirits away. Moving the flowers could be a message from the spirits that this isn't enough to stop them, as one of the ghost hunters points out. So you can say what you want about the movies, but the location it's based on is definitely not someplace you'd want to spend the night at. J&M Explorations experienced the same type of early situations that the Perrons had happened to them during their first few years of living here. Before things started ramping up, I guess the house likes to take its time. Oh, and then there's this doll who goes from waving hello at 13 minutes and 47 seconds to asking for a hug at 34 minutes and 39 seconds. So I guess Annabelle isn't the only one with possession problems. Number 18. MacLeod offers this video as proof that his house is haunted, but maybe there is more to it than that. Listen to this part and tell me if you can hear a fan, or some kind of air current, or really anything that could be causing the door to slam like this. I've seen a draft cause a door to slam shut one time, but never over and over. Have you? Brock records the top and bottom of the door to show that no one is near it, so this absolutely has to be a 1 in a million problem with the ventilation system, or else the supernatural at work. Number 17. Something is active in this quiet home. Published by Memoria Sobrenatural Inc. in April of 2022. The paranormal investigator searches this haunted place, and it seems like an unknown entity is searching him right back, and then the entity grows aggressive after coming across stacked chairs in one of the rooms. They collapse before the man's very eyes. He then witnesses a faucet turn on by itself. It flows full blast.
Cara, olha isso, olha isso, olha isso. Pessoal, cara, tô olhando nisso. Tô olhando nisso, pessoal. Cara,
As the ghost hunter tries to catch some sleep, what looks like a mattress falls against the wall. Later, he encounters this shadow figure in the hallway, and then another lurking in the corner of a room. Is something hiding in this curtain behind him? Before you start to panic, nah, just go ahead and panic. It's the time for it. Number 16. On 3830 McMahon Road sits a lone white house which at first glance looks rather unassuming, but is actually a source of otherworldly evil. A place so foul that not even 2 separate exorcisms could fully cleanse its walls. Over 800 Native Americans are said to have lost their lives in the surrounding hills against federal forces, many of whom are thought to be buried under the Hinsdale House, fueling its foundations with anger. And that's just the beginning. Sometime in the 1800s, 2 outlaw brothers used this New York property as their sick trophy room. They would go after stagecoaches and left behind no witnesses. The bodies were mostly kept in the attic or left in the basement without a care. Outside, more lives were taken over the years at a pond, and also at an old tree at just the right height for a rope, which was later struck by lightning. Nowadays, the heavily haunted Hinsdale House has become a location for ghost hunters like John and Amanda of Elevated Vlogs to explore whatever secrets lie within. John and Amanda are amateur ghost hunters without much paranormal experience, so their reactions are about as raw as it gets. Their night begins with a tour from the house's current owner, a man named Daniel Clays, who spared this house from getting demolished in 2015. He seems to have formed a truce with the spirits in return for saving them. The way he talks about his experiences, the more activity their camera catches around him.
There's definitely something that's sinister, maybe darker, that comes out once in a while. But your best thing is to just ignore it and move on and go do something else. We're just standing in the kitchen and we had a camera on ourselves and they were talking about the exorcism this, exorcism that. And
Daniel leaves them to explore the house on their own.
And just kind of do a little explore before we sit down anywhere. And
did you hear that?
They also hear this noise, the sound someone makes with a hand over their mouth.
But he said he has experienced somewhat of something dark here. Experience.
They enter the room of Mary Dandy, the youngest daughter of a family who lived here during the 1970s, and find bugs on their backs, legs up, an odd characteristic that the room has become known for. An entity has attached itself here, something foul enough to attract flies and send them lifelessly to the floor without its presence. Or maybe these flies were placed here by Daniel to fool John and Amanda. Either way, the activity only seems to increase ever since standing in Mary's room. I think something runs ahead of them down the stairs into the basement. Maybe the final steps of someone trying to get away during a terrible event.
Most people that check this place out will come with a team.
Oh yeah, I'll go down first so you can show them this really cool. Did you hear that?
What was that?
And when they try to communicate with it, a scared little girl's voice comes across the airwaves.
Are you okay with us staying here tonight?
They decide to head back into Mary's room. Again, their spirit box picks up the same crying girl as before.
Are you okay with us being in this room? Can we sit here?
And this is the third time they pick up her voice. Definitely the same girl the whole time.
Are we safe?
She's following them from room to room, and maybe behind her is the sinister force that Daniel warned them to stay away from. They decided to check out the attic before they get too scared. Remember what I said about the attic earlier? Sure enough, John feels a strong hand wrap his arm to pull him forward, followed by a supernatural confirmation from a gruff male voice.
Dude, I'm not even playing, man.
Did someone touch John's arm?
Like, no lie, it felt like there was just something
Dude, that sounded like, yeah.
They flee downstairs to regroup and find they can no longer leave. Something's outside.
John!
Oh my
I
god.
literally heard something outside. I'm not even messing around.
Dude.
You hear that, dude?
No, I know. It sounded like metal tinging.
I don't hear it, but I do see it. Look again, it's a ghost caught on live stream. And even though I didn't hear it earlier, I do hear chains rattling during this part when they get closer to the door.
What's that noise?
There's nothing left to do but wait it out in the Hinsdale house. After a night of fitful sleep, they decide to explore the hillside before getting out of there fast. They're still afraid from yesterday's events, but it's their job as paranormal investigators to keep going no matter what. So with their spirit box out, they wander into the woods. Within minutes, they record a voice. I hear 3 words. I need help.
I need help.
Then they hear a familiar voice, the same one responsible for grabbing John's arm in the attic.
We're coming into the darker part of the woods here. Would somebody like to speak with us? Oh. Yep, that was definitely a male voice.
And this part is either Amanda's voice edited in, or else somebody is humming a creepy tune right next to John. The forest is dark and cold. I agree with John that this is a different language.
We're in the middle of the woods. There's no electrical.
They come to a part of the woods that's particularly eerie for no reason at all. It's just a feeling they both have. That's when they realize the reason for their fears could not be directly underfoot.
Did you die here?
The thought of communicating with the other side has always made me uneasy, but speaking with someone while standing on their unmarked grave, as elevated vlogs seem to have done, takes that uneasiness to a whole other level. Number 15. A YouTuber named Vicky Short offers this creepy home CCTV video as paranormal evidence of a haunted house. It's 4:26 in the morning when a scary event happens. That is caught on CCTV, 2 books falling off the shelf, seemingly with no one around. Vicky says the haunted household objects moved on their own, but the alleged paranormal activity happens in a corner that the camera can't really see very well, so I'm not sure if it's real or fake. This could be a ghost moving the books, or it could be someone moving them off camera. But when the two lights mysteriously flash from a surge of energy across from where the books fell, it makes them suspect that paranormal activity is occurring after all. Number 14. A paranormal team led by Derek Reese sits around the old family room of a haunted house in an undisclosed location. One of them must be sensitive to spirits because he asks them if they feel anything, and maybe he accidentally channels something into the room.
Oh my god, no, I'm not.
You can see everyone except for one person when the knock happens, but her hands are in her lap under a pillow, so no, it's not her. Later on, they are looking at old videos when two visual artifacts appear. One is pink and one is green, and neither of them will go away no matter what they try. And that's when they hear creepy singing and a deep voice say something like, "Get away from the door." The audio is pretty low quality, but what do you hear? Number 13. An adventurer from India goes exploring an abandoned house to see if it's really as haunted as they say. Within less than 2 minutes of entering the forsaken building, the explorer has his answer.
करके तो उसी जगह पर ये
A heavy negative energy looms in the air. All the rooms look the same, even the last one, except it has something extra waiting inside.
वो देखिए वो क्या चीज खड़ी है
A figure stands in the corner, and at 4 minutes and 25 seconds, a volley of ghost orbs seem to rush out of its silhouette frame upon being found. Orbs continue to dance all around as the figure inches towards with its head down. They continue for half a minute and only stop when the figure crosses into the next room. At no other point in the video do so many of these appear, only here when its presence is nearby. When he looks into the next room, the orbs have stopped and the figure is gone. The encounter is over, and he is left wondering the meaning of what he just saw. Number 12. Someone's life was taken here, and a shadow person remains. Is it the person who passed, or the person who ended their life? Published in December of 2021, Drana and Mike's paranormal adventures entered this house and got more than they bargained for. While exploring the home, the spirit speaks to them. The voice sounds like it's whispering, "Help me out." As they continue to communicate with the spirits in the darkness, Drana feels something touch her on the shoulder.
Do you know any of our names?
Did you just touch me on my shoulder?
Later, in another room, Drana and Mike are talking with someone off camera, and the camera scans from one side of the room to the other. This is when you see it.
On the thrill. Wait here, officer the light filters. Yeah.
In the next room over, the shadow appears. It looks like it's ducking behind the door, and it disappears in an instant. Is there a lost soul in this haunted home? And if so, who does it belong to? I know I wouldn't go back there after seeing this, but I do really think this place needs further investigation. Number 11. A famous Malaysian YouTuber caught some supremely scary moments on live stream that have left him and all of his followers really freaking out. It's just another normal night at his house, spending time with roommates, when they get an idea to see who is the bravest. They've been suspecting their house was haunted for a long time, and dare each other to go room to room with the lights off. The first 2 rooms are fine, but just when it looks like this was all for nothing, some scary things are caught on camera. Standing in the corner of the room is a silent spirit that Malaysian culture refers to as a pokong. A sighting of one of these spirits can be seen as a cry for help. They need to have someone undo their shroud so within 40 days, they can be freed from this world. With that in mind, I really don't blame him from running away instead of running forward. I don't think I would have the courage to undo its binds and withstand the rotten figure beneath. Seeing one in their own home must have been terrifying. Number 10. A YouTuber named Rata Negra Mago is positive that his house is haunted, and he claims to have the evidence to back it up. The kid's toy moves across the table and I don't see a string. Then a bottle falls off the table. There are no shadows coming from the other room when it happens. No one is around. And right before it happens, this strange traveling light appears. Looks paranormal to me. 4 days later, he catches this object moving all by itself. This one I find a little harder to believe, because I feel like it's definitely in their grandma's line of sight. I mean, how could you miss a bright green reflective veg doing 360s for almost a full minute is beyond me. She must have been fully absorbed in her show. I have my doubts about this one, but at the same time I don't know how they're doing it, so maybe it's real. This final video taken almost a year later is perhaps the oddest of all. This hanging ornament begins moving in place with nothing to help get it started. Yes, it's by an open window, but there's no wind. The leaves on this plant don't move, and neither does this towel hanging over a chair. And it's not the air conditioner either, because this connected red string doesn't move at all. And if you're still not convinced, take a listen. At 1 minute and 20 seconds, this phantom light reflects across the stereo glass, though to be fair, it could just be a member of the family. Number 9. South Korean ghost hunter Yang Ma-hee is exploring an old abandoned haunted house for evidence of the paranormal. What he's caught on tape is up for debate, so let's get right to it. Tell me if you hear a footstep after he finishes his sentence.
계세요? 누구 계세요?
All of the rooms look completely ripped apart, and yet nothing has been taken. Drawers and shelves are overturned, but clothing and personal items remain largely untouched. It looks like the work of poltergeist activity to me, not thieves. A particularly angry poltergeist at that. But perhaps the scariest part of all is this EVP of a man's voice that completely overlaps his own when he touches the old owner's shoe.
이거 화장실이다.
That does not sound like a house settling or anything like that. It's definitely vocal cords. The ghostly voice of someone who is with us in spirit alone. Final analysis? Yeah, this video is about as paranormal as it gets. Number 8. If you knowingly lived in a haunted house, would you stay? Donnie Drunkard did. Published to YouTube in December of 2020, this paranormal activity will run you out of Donnie Drunkard's home. Donnie writes, after trying to recover footage that I thought was lost, I found these clips from last year documenting the earliest days of paranormal and poltergeist activity manifesting in my haunted house. The footage first shows Donnie playing with his dog Terry, but later that night Donnie notes that the atmosphere changed and that they heard voices and sounds coming from upstairs. Terrifying clinking and clanking bursts through the darkness. Terry is growling as Donnie grabs for his Bible and starts to pray.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
As Terry tries to escape under a table for comfort.
Terry, come here. Terry. Come on. Come on, Terry. You gotta go.
Donnie gathers him up to flee this mayhem for a time. As they head out for a drive, in the background, an overhead light is swinging back and forth. While they are away, a closet door near where the sound originated opens slowly. Nothing exits. YouTuber Brenda Luke writes, that hallway, it's not just darkness, it's advanced darkness. I'd be leaving that haunted house immediately. Number 7. Randy Doss claims to live in a haunted house and offers this video evidence for proof.
I dare you slam that door.
They start recording this video after the door opens all by itself, at which point they try to get the spirit to do something else, and with that said, the ghost seemingly takes up the challenge. Watch the crack in the door and you'll see there's absolutely nobody on the other side.
No.
Just for the record, it's only Nick and I here.
Just when the door almost slams shut, this happens.
Oh my god, no! Oh my god!
Whoa.
The obvious answer is that there is a child standing on the other side of the door, but look again. There appears to be nothing more than an empty sleeve, and more importantly, it doesn't make contact with the door at all. This makes me think that whatever forced the door open could have also wrestled the nearby jacket too. Number 6. A group of neighborhood kids from Algeria decide to rush the local haunted house, reasoning that the ghost inside can't get them all. Someone tell me what's going on here. I think they might be nervous and start to pray.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. أعوذ بالله من كلمات وش ديك؟ اصبر 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 وراها.
Their words seem to have successfully riled up something as they gather excitedly to see what's behind this wall.
اصبر 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 شوف وش كاين هي، راه كاين حاجة من ربي جاب لي ربي قشتو بيه.
You'll never believe the weird things they've caught on tape.
وش كاين هي؟
This still image taken at 3 minutes and 56 seconds shows it best, the outline of a shadow figure watching them as they leave. This is some of the best paranormal evidence caught on tape that I've seen in a while. The mysterious figure is standing directly under a window, and yet is still covered in darkness. Number 5. The David Oman house is a supposedly haunted home in Beverly Hills that's not too far from where the Manson cult claimed the life of celebrity Sharon Tate. A team of paranormal investigators are busy taking pictures of a dark room at night with an infrared camera to detect heat signatures. Suddenly, the floorboards creak nearby as if someone is near, and this message is broadcast on their equipment. The team bravely decides to stay put instead of taking its advice. Not too long after, they develop this haunting photograph while snapping pictures in the dark. This heat signature undoubtedly looks like the outline of a human. While this photo could be doctored or simply staged, it could also be another piece of evidence that the David Oman house is anything but safe or normal. Who knows what would have happened if they had stayed there much longer. Number 4. According to Steve, this area is infamous as the site in which a person who was taking people's lives during the 1950s hid the bodies, and he may have lived in this abandoned home nearby, hidden in the woods. Published by Steve Ronan in April of 2020. The crew quickly comes across some unsavory items. This is an arrangement of bird skulls. Later, they find another piece of animal anatomy. What type of animal is this spine from? And why is it here? I'm starting to wonder if Norman Bates lived here. One last creepy thing they come across are these little figurines. a skeleton in what looks to be Gollum. Is this actually the house of this 1950s maniac? Why were all these possessions left behind? And what is up with the bird skull trophies? I'd be staying far away from this house.
That's creepy. So just some birds, huh? Bird skulls, or maybe mouse skulls?
No, I think it's like a rodent.
Yeah.
Like a family of rodents. But what them right here like this, I have no idea.
Number 3. Something unsettling is going on in this haunted house. Published by Mr. Horror in February of 2022, the scary video begins with this mysterious clacking noise. The room is empty and the floor looks like it's covered in dirt or sawdust, or as some in the comments suggest, flour. The clacking continues, followed by a large banging sound. Then footsteps appear as something invisible walks across the floor. Many in the comments note how big the prints are. Others are just glad there isn't a jump scare. To what or who do you think these prints belong? For now, I think it'll remain a mystery. Number 2. You couldn't pay me money to stay in this house. Posted to TikTok by Jen Barari, the TikToker explains that strange things have been happening in her barn-style home. As she's speaking, she hears something, even though she's home alone. She follows the noise. You can hear repeated loud banging coming from the living room. Her cat looks uneasy. When she enters to find no one there, she asks the spirits to stop and leave.
Can you stop?
She then turns to capture her reflection in the television, and it looks like a dark shadow is creeping up behind her. Turning around, there's nothing there. In a later clip, she is showing her viewers the pond outside when a dark shadow passes behind her in the reflection of the window. She walks around the house turning all the lights on, and something starts banging again. She takes this as her cue to leave.
Oh my, it's okay. It's okay. Holy.
In the comments, TikToker Danny writes, "My electricity bill would be so high because I would never turn a single light off in that house ever." Some say this made their skin crawl. Others suggest sage. Still others say this is beyond sage. I say you should avoid finishing this video unless you're truly brave. I've got a challenge for you. Since you've made it this far, why not like this video and hit subscribe in the next 5 seconds? Because I upload 4 new scary videos every week. If you're curious about what I look like in real life, then go to my Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT and tap that follow button to find out. Number 1. This house is supposedly haunted, and the family room reportedly has the most activity out of anywhere. As you can see in this close-up shot, there is nothing out of the ordinary about this mirror at all. But once the paranormal investigation is underway, a woman's colorless face appears in the upper left quadrant. She is staring directly at the camera with 2 black holes for eyes. Her thin lips and nose clearly visible. As far as I can see, there is nothing in the room that could cast such a strangely vivid reflection.